Welcome back to the economy today, and we're looking at perishable items. If you have noticed, you notice that perishable goods have continued to increase by price. Commodities have continued to increase, and a lot of people are finding it so hard to even buy normal foods like yam, potato, tomatoes, pepper, and some other things. Now we're in the office of the Financial Secretary of the International Perishable Markets in K2 My 12 to discuss some of these things with Alhaji Gidado. Gidado, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. First of all, I'm going to be asking you what exactly is the market doing? Because of this kind of problem happening now. This market is where every other market links to. In fact, in West Africa, I would say, what is the market doing?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. George, for having me as a guest. Like what you have said, I also remain as Gidado Mohammed, the Financial Secretary of Maltese International Market. For your question of asking me about the situation of the high cost or high price of the commodity into the market, what I can tell you is that we are now in a off season. We are not in a season. So these are the reason why the price of the commodity is so very high. More especially tomatoes, tatashe, rodo, and other perishables items.
Now you said you are now in off season.
Yeah.
But like I questioned, the chairman the last time, and he said some countries, around Africa, like I think Ghana, Benin Republic, and some other countries, they produce, and we also export to them once in a while. They are supposed to bring in for us, and that was supposed to happen sometime last month.
Yes.
So why is that not happening?
No, it is happening. It is happening. Like what I've told you now, we are in off-season.
Yes.
That is the purpose of why the price of commodity is going high. But in fact, we have some other areas in Nigeria that are still supplying perishable items to our market, like Southwest, like Abeokuta. Is saying that's Oyo State, we have their own perishables items that they used to supply for us here, that we are just managing with it. But the huge or the more large quantity of the perishables is the one that is coming from the northern part of the country. And now, like what I've told you, we are now in off season. That is why we have this shortage of availability of the commodity into the market. Secondly, like the question you asked about the neighboring countries, is true. Benin Republic, Togo, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, also Niger here, the supplying market to us. We too are supplying for them. This situation which we are having tomato from Cameroon, the one that is coming from Ecom, that's the Cameroon side, also Benin Republic and Ghana also too. Their tomatoes used to come to us here now. But there was a time we can still supply our commodities to all these neighboring countries.
So if they are supplying, that I believe that it will be much here. You will have plenty enough to be able to distribute around.
It will not be much enough to reach the actual target that normally which we used to have during the season or the period of the commodities. There is so many things that, for instance, taking supply tomato from Cameroon to Lagos here, if you look at the distance and the transportation and the quantity of the goods that they will supply to us here, it will not reach us to reach our target, whereby even to make the price to come down. But instead of none, so we are managing those countries so that that our market will not just be empty without any items, without any commodity into it. But their own cannot even satisfy the market even defeat the nation or the Lagos state in fact.
All right. Before I ask this, my next question, I want to ask. You know, like you mentioned now, there's some issues like transportation, you know, infrastructure. Let's just put it like that now, because there are no places to store that tomato or store the pepper or store this and all that.
Yes.
So, what should be done regarding transportation, regarding, you know, storage facilities and all that?
Well, in terms of infrastructure like transportation, this is what we always call on government to make focus on it. Let our roads to be well, okay. Let our roads to be good, so that it will help us to transporting from one place to another. More especially perishables item is the item that doesn't want to stay much on the road.
Yes.
The more, if the road is bad or is damaging, it will affect the product. It will affect the commodity. For instance, if you take tomato from Kano to Lagos here, the way the situation of the road, it has reached a situation whereby the more a vehicle spoil for 1 or 2 days on the road, the tomato will be perish. Now it will be loose to us, to the farmers too also.
Wow.
So it is very, very important to our government to focus on road infrastructure, so that all over the country that we can have the easier ways of transportation from one place to the other.
So now let's look at the main agricultural sector.
Yeah.
You know that agriculture, there was one time in the 60s, 70s, even 80s, it was used to be like agriculture used to be the main thing in Nigeria before oil came.
Yeah.
So why, I mean, what is your advice now? Because it's like an advice to the government, to this new administration, that to look at the agricultural sector. What should actually be done in that agricultural sector?
It's true. The agricultural sector is one of the best sector that people or government has to focus on it, because it's the area of feeding. Once you are not being fed, you will not be able to perform whatever you want to do. Definitely is that we have a hope on this government of Ashwaju, His Excellency, Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Alhaji Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have hope in this government that is going to improve agriculture, because he knows what is agriculture. He has made several advice from the previous government on agriculture. So by the special grace of God, we hope that Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will look into this agriculture and he will improve it, and the country will be witnessing. The country will sure know that this government has what to do on the agricultural sector.
Let's look at the security part of, because that is one of the basic things happening in the northeast and some other parts now. Even when you are in season now for it now, to farm on those places, I have learned that the farmers even pay to some of these people. And when they pay to them to farm on their land, and then after farming, they still pay to them to harvest it. And then when they go to harvest, they still collect money from them, that this is your sale, that we have made sale and this, that. And sometimes they even lose everything. What should the government do? Because I know the federal government has appointed new chief of army staff, new service chiefs, and the rest of them. So what exactly should be done, especially to that issue of insurgency, banditry, and the rest of them affecting farmers?
Well, this is a very, very good question, but I'm not in a government. I'm not a government.
I will take it from the advice, from your own advice.
I'm a businessman who is selling tomatoes to Tashi. I'm not a government officially, but advisably is that, like what you have said, you need my advice on this area of insecurity. It is an area whereby it's affecting this country. Not one region of the country, almost all over the 6 geopolitical of the country. We have this insecurity situation, and it is affecting us. But my advice here is that in terms of agriculture, with the hope, I'm assured of His Excellency Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to be do a writing on that on security matter. You know, the security, the farmers. What I'm saying is that His Excellency to give more attention. I know he's doing it for his just 2 months in the office. There is so many improvement in terms of insecurities. Being appointed the new service chiefs, you know, we saw a improvement in security. Things have been coming down gradually. My call here is that His Excellency should help the farmers to tackle the security situation so that the farmer can be able to go to the farm and do their right thing. For all this, what you are saying, paying ransom, paying compensation from the bandits or kidnappers before allowing the farmers to go to the farm, we want to hear this thing to be an history. But His Excellency, the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is going to do the right thing on this security situation. That is why I've told you I'm not a part of the government, but my advice as a businessman, as a farmer in agricultural area, that we need the government to help us to sweep out all these bad elements, all these bandits, kidnappers, and so on and so forth, so that to allow the farmers to farm, so that the food can be so available into the country. We are not going to have any issue concerning food commodity or in terms of anything pertaining agriculture in the country.
Anyway, we'll go for a very short break now. I'll be right back to asking more questions bordering on the scarcity of food items. Yes, we are still here discussing with Alhaji Gidado Mohammed on the issue of perishable items, their scarcity in the market. A lot of commodities are no more in the market, or some of them are in the market, but they are very, very expensive right now. So, and he has listed a lot of issues. You know, first of all, the market is not in its season. It's not when it's supposed to be making a lot of, bringing in materials from the farms. And again, the challenges that the farmers are facing, insecurity, the challenges of bad road, the challenges of not having a good storage facility for all these things. All these things have been mentioned. You know, let's look at the issues of the right policies now, the right policies from government. Sometimes we say, okay, government is the largest spender. Government spends the biggest money. But again, these are private sectors that are trying to enable public sector. The international market is a private sector that is likened to a public sector where many things come in. They try to improve and they try to bring in something that will serve the whole of the country. So, Alhaji, the market itself.
Yeah.
I'm sure the market has a connection with farmers, connections with farms, you understand, and with some industries too, who are supposed to also bring into this organization to help every other person. So what is your take on private participation, that's private sector participation in building this, in building the market itself, or in building this perishable market to be a better, place?
Well, there is not any private sector that have been coming to build or to give us any contribution in terms of building our market. This market was founded almost 40 years back. And if you come to this market before and now, if you know this market before and now, you see the differences. Why? Because from the way how we are running our businesses and doing our legitimate trade here into the market, it has given us a hope and confidence that we are building our market gradually, one after the other. If you come to this market, before you used to wear a shoe called rain boots because of the poto into the market. But now you can use your slippers to go round up to the market without having any challenges concerning that. All this thing is doing by the effort and the good leadership of our chairman of this market, Gidado Mohammed, aka Sampam, who has stood by us and day and night to make sure and see this market was being very clean, and the market was looking so good into the eyes of the government. So for you to tell us that any private sector that will come here and give us and support or any contribution into this market, we don't have any.
But is the market not connected? Because I know there is a yam market, there is other these things. Even there are other big markets too, not only just in K2 My 12 here, there are other big places. So are they also linked to all of them? You know,
you see this market is My 12 International Market. I comprise Shukura Yam Sellers Association. That's the yam section. That we have Alaba Electronic, where they are selling electronic.
Okay.
And we have Perishable section, where we are dealing with perishables items. So all it is under My 12 International Market. But each and every section, like I mentioned for you, has their own leadership and the chairman of their area.
Okay.
They're controlling by themselves. But all it is they are under My 12 International Market. So this is where we are now. We are in a perishable market section governed by Gidado Mohammed. Also the chairman of My 12 International Market, collectively with the other sectors that you are talking about.
All right, now. So, and though you have said the private sector has not in any way contributed anything to here, but the government is the public sector, and I feel they are the ones who dictate the pace of everything, because now the fuel subsidy is affecting, the transportation is affecting, and the rest of them. So why is it? Because government has just removed the fuel subsidy, and I'm sure that is also affecting the market itself.
Yes,
so
of course.
What is the palliative? Let me use that language, because that's a language that is raining now.
We are waiting for the palliative from the government now. So like I've told you, this government, we have hope on this new government of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are expecting more palliatives from the government. But in another way, what we want the government to do it for us is that they should concept all the vehicles into the CNG. That's compressed national gas vehicles. As far as there is a subsidy removal, which cannot be able some other vehicles to come, or yes, to be delivered some good at due to the price list of the fuel. So I call on government, they should use this policy, or they should use this process by comparing the all vehicles into CNG, that is compressed national gas vehicles.
Okay, so
that we can have the
specific vehicles that
yes,
peak to,
yes, that can peak, and that CNG, we can have the reduction of price of the. If you are using CNG, that is compressed national gas vehicles, if you are going to buy a diesel of 10,000 naira, that one, it will, at least you cannot spend more than 2,000 naira.
So the price, that means that but this is Nigeria.
Yes,
nothing is possible. But that is possible. You understand? Very possible.
Yes.
But again, this is Nigeria. You can actually organize that kind of a thing, and then people will still go get government license to go and bring in things at
maybe
2,000 naira and then come and sell it at exorbitant price.
That is why we always open our vocal to the government, so that government to hear our needs. You are talking of our needs, and is that also? So these are the needs now. If I told you how much you are paying a truck from Kano to Lagos that been carry our perishable items to Lagos, do you know is how much? What we are paying before is how much, and what we are paying now is almost triplets of what we are paying previously. We are paying more than 1,500,000 naira per one truck from Kano to Lagos. How much are we paying before? So there is so many things. That is why I call on government. They should do one CNG vehicles that compress a national gas vehicle, so that we can have a relief, in terms of supplying commodities to the.
What do you call it again? Because I am going to take CNG.
Compressed national gas vehicles.
Gas vehicles.
Yes.